I don't even know why I'm recording, honestly. But the point may be, do you need something to talk about to record yourself? In order to record yourself, do you need to justify your recording of yourself? That's a good point. I don't know. Okay. So I'm actually gonna train calisthenics and weightlifting today. Funny enough, I am a calisthenic. Uh, I train calisthenics. I was gonna say like I'm a calisthenics athlete, but I'm not. Okay, I just like to train calisthenics. So that is what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be a bit of a hybrid workout, mostly calisthenics though. And I don't really have parallettes, so I'm using dumbbells as parallettes. Yeah, they work. I'm gonna keep it a buck right now. I'm thinking if I should even record this, because like I kind of have stuff to talk about, but I feel like this sort of stuff needs more thought put into them, because I guess I don't really have a conclusion to them or really a point to get to. So I feel like I should like have a script or something about it. But at the same time, I don't really want to take time to write a script, to record a video. My brain just doesn't really function that way. I also do want to just listen to stuff while I work out, and I can't really do that if I'm recording with my phone. So there is that. I guess I'm just gonna record myself while I warm up. That's what I'm gonna do. And then for the actual routine, I'm just gonna cut it and gonna have a chill training, really. By the way, my knee, I don't know, it's gotten like a tiny, like a fraction better, but it, like not really, and still bothers me. Some days it's really good, some other days really bad, like this past week was kind of really bad, but now it's better, like at least. And you know, and it only hurts when I go up mostly, but like I can like stay very perpendicular to the floor with no pain. Ow! Just going up. And some crunch, you know, some crunch to it. And you gotta have some flavor to you, you know. I saw some TED Talks these past few days that kind of made me think, you know, about progress and decision making. Don't really have a point to get to, but I just think these are interesting topics and things that people don't really think about that often, but it could like play a huge role in how you go through your life, I guess. The first TED Talk, I mean, I'm gonna summarize it, obviously, but like the most important point that I got was essentially about about how just a little, like a tiny bit fraction of effort can take you really far if you do it consistently, which is a point that is also talked about in the Compound Effect book that I've been reading for, not gonna lie, the past year. I'm a bit of a slow reader. By the past year, I mean 2024, right? Because this is only the beginning of the year. The compound effect, essentially, is when you put grain by grain, like you're building like this mountain, right? And you put in like one grain at a time, one little grain at a time, and all of a sudden, exponential growth happens, and all this small progress starts all of a sudden exponentially growing, if that makes sense. Essentially, consistency. Essentially, if you're consistent with something, something will happen. That's pretty much it. So, In this book, they also touch a point about how to get extraordinary results. You don't actually have to be that much extraordinary. You just have to put like a fraction of a little bit more effort that than average people. And this is done by essentially going just a little bit, like a tiny bit past your limits. And I think that's very interesting because we can see that like very clearly when it comes to training, weightlifting, or whatever it is, calisthenics. I don't know, CrossFit or whatever it is that you're into. If you're into that weird stuff, you know, like you're doing a set and you're getting to failure, but like you have heard about just getting to between 8 and 12 reps range, right? Like for hypertrophy. But what happens if you get to that 12th rep and you just keep going, right? Those extra reps are gonna push you that much further, right? And it's only like what 3 more reps? If you do those 3 more reps, all those sets for a compound amount of time, that's gonna give you some pretty crazy results instead of just staying at that 12 rep range, right? So that's pretty much it with every wall that you find in your efforts. What does that mean exactly? Well, I think you and I, you know, we're humans after all. We've all found ourselves in front of a wall, a psychological wall, when we try to get out of our comfort zone, rather. Like, I don't know, maybe you're really socially anxious like I used to be, and you are going to some place like the grocery store, and all of a sudden this person cuts in line and you gotta say something because I was before them, right? So like I gotta say something, and all of a sudden you feel this thing stopping you from actually speaking up, and so you don't do it. So that moment right there, that's a wall. Like that's a psychological wall. That if you just put like a tiny bit more effort, even if it's not like actually getting the person to move out of the line, but maybe just saying, hey, I'm sorry, I think I was before you. Like even just mentioning, not like ordering the person to move, just doing something extra. Like not just letting that thing stop you and just doing something, anything that it could move you, even if it's just one step forward or half a step forward, just that little extra compounded over time is gonna take you somewhere, essentially. You know? It's gonna help you grow exponentially. And that point was also referenced in that tech talk, which by the way has nothing to do with the book, The Compound Effect, but it's interesting how you can find these concepts in different sources, like books and videos, and not just this concept, like it happens with a lot of other stuff, but I think that is a good, kind of a good metric to know when you have found like a key piece of information that could actually be vital to your progress and how you run your life in a way that maybe it's more meaningful or more effective or whatever it is. I think there is some key concepts out there that are like this one that can just take you to the next level, like exponentially. And I think this one's one of them, because when you find a concept and all of a sudden you start seeing this concept like in multiple places, maybe with different wording or different names, but it's essentially the same concept. I think that means something, you know? I think that means something in and of itself when you find the same concept in different places. And so, I mean, essentially, I've been finding this pushing through your limit or your wall thing like more clear than before, because it's essentially with everything. Maybe you're in your work and like you're doing some work and you just want to be over with it, you know, you just want to be done with it. And maybe you have this hard task that's haunting your mind and you're like, man, do I really gotta do this? And you're just putting some effort just to kind of get through with it. and you find this the task is getting maybe harder and harder as you progress, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a point where it's like, man, I don't know how to deal with this, or like, am I even supposed to deal with this? Maybe I should just delegate it to somebody else. But maybe if you just push like a tiny bit harder on that one task, and you just progress a tiny bit further, even if it's not completing it, you know, that's gonna help you in some way or another. Maybe you're gonna get noticed at work because hey, he's doing a really great job if you do this consistently, and over a consistent amount of time, right? It's just a thought really that this concept of a little extra effort can be applied basically anywhere where you find yourself being stopped or like stuck in a psychological place when you're like, I don't know if I should keep going. I don't know if I have the strength or the resilience or the resistance to keep going. When you feel stuck in a place like that, I think that's exactly when you should push a little bit further, because that's what's gonna help you grow exponentially. Essentially, that's what the TED Talk kind of talked about, but not really. It took more on a. It's funny. I said I was gonna warm up, and I'm just talking. So yeah, one of the points, or rather, it's the same point, but looked at it sort of in a different way. How this person kind of struggled studying. They were really a good student, so what they did is just they put like a tiny bit effort, like just a tiny bit effort in studying by just reading one paragraph and leaving it for like half an hour, go do something else, and half an hour later just come back and read another paragraph. And just by doing that, they like their grades went like this. I think that's kind of the same concept where you don't really have to put that much effort in something in order to be exceptional or extraordinary at it. You just kind of have to be consistent with it. You know, it's like if I were to start training calisthenics all over again, even if I don't spend 1 hour every day, 7 days a week, right? Even if I just start by doing 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, twice or 3 times a week, even if I just do it like this for like even the first 3, 6 months, you would say like you're not doing anything, training just 20, 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, you're not doing anything. But like, that's not true though. This is gonna get compounded over time. And when time goes on, are not really just gonna train those 20 minutes. You're gonna keep training after a while because you're gonna get used to it. And after 20 minutes, maybe it's just half an hour. Like in 3 months, from 30 minutes, now it's half an hour. 6 months, 8 months, now it's 45 minutes. And all of a sudden, 1 year later, you're already training 1 hour a day, 4 times a week, or something like that. And you already got the habit, and you're just a consistently person who trains, you know? And so I think that's a really important point where you can take into anything and be like, okay, if I want to start this new project, this new business, I don't actually have to dive all the way in and devote my whole life into this, right? Because we all know how those types of stuff work, right? If you're not really a determined person, essentially you're just gonna drop out after a while because it's just too much to handle at first. So you should just ease your way into it, you know? Even if it's just by doing little over a span of time, like a consistent amount of time, just doing little bit over, little bit over, little bit over each time. It's just gonna get compounded, you know? Essentially, that little something is gonna take you to somewhere. It's just gonna happen. If you do it consistently, if you do it every day, if you do it every so often, but in a consistent basis, something's gonna happen. Something's got to happen. Because it's just got to happen. It just kind of makes sense, honestly, when you think about it. If you do something, something is gonna happen. You know, if you put an input, you get an output. You know, obviously your output depends on the input, but still something is bound to happen. So I think it's just interesting. Essentially, you can just put some effort in something that you want to work on, some effort in a consistent basis, and you can expect some results. And I think that's a moderate way of thinking to get into your goals. Now it started raining, nice. it's just another way of thinking on how to get to your goals. And so you don't get so overwhelmed with all the stuff that you maybe want to get in life, you know? Like you don't have to start with everything at the same time. You can start small with anything that, you know, that pushes you forward. So yeah, I think that's cool. That's pretty much it. So funny enough, I just did my first set. I kind of just want to record them to see how's my form, essentially, because that is an important step in all of this. Man, I should have recorded that first set for sure, though. Let's go ahead and try to get a good one on camera. Oh. Ooh. Okay. So I think the second rep was the better one. I'm gonna check right now. But I think the second was the better one because the first one I don't think I actually paid much attention in the angle of my forearm. I'm trying to keep that 90-degree angle. Like I'm trying to keep that forearm as straight as possible while I'm leaning forward. And kind of the goal really is, well, one, keep the forearm straight. Second, trying to hold myself in the air and not really touch the floor with my face, you know? Because if I touch the floor with my face, really I'm not exerting as much force from my shoulders as I should, which is kind of the goal from this, right? I'm doing all of this just to improve my shoulder strength so I can lift myself up. And really the leg extensions are just kind of trying to train that mind control, right? Trying to control from my waist down, trying to control the legs while I'm upside down. That's really important when it comes to training for the handstand push-up. So I just kind of go for this. That was the second set, which by the way I didn't even mark. That's great. I'm gonna do one more. Okay, so I saw that second set. I think that was pretty good. You know, I kind of should focus on lowering the legs slower at the end. So I think I just let them drop kind of. I don't think that's pretty good. So let's go for the last one. Oh, wow. Man, that's just 3 reps. That is hilarious. Just 3 reps, and that shit is tiresome, for sure. I could only control the fall of the legs on one of those reps. I think it was on the second one, right? On the third one, by the third one, my strength is already like, I only got 20 or 30% on the tank by the third one. So I can barely keep myself lifted from the floor without my face actually kissing the floor, you know, because I can already feel it in my hair. So I'm really close at that last rep. You know, son of a. Oh wait, that was the third one. I'm already done with those. So now what I'm gonna do, essentially, kind of the same, but instead of lifting my legs up, I'm just gonna kind of get myself off the floor and gonna go back and off the floor again. So I don't need as much strength. That's kind of the point, right? Like the first exercise for it to be the really intense one, like the most difficult one, and then the second exercise, like an easier variation of the first, essentially, because that's what I want to get good at, right? At that shoulder strength. I don't really want to record any more of my workout. I just kind of want to have a chill rest of my workout, so I'm gonna peace out if you don't mind.